Good day, history family. Today we'll be talking about something very interesting, something very fascinating. So we'll be talking about the culture that has endured for a very long time, and it has become a very important aspect of spiritual life for so many people in the world over, from places in Africa to Europe to places as far as East Asia and to places as far as Southeast Asia, as well as the Southern Asia in the Indian subcontinent. So what we are talking about is none other than the culture of tassawwuf, of Sufism, or what I would call Islamic spirituality or mysticism, which has been around for a very, very long time. So because mysticism has been a part of the human existence for a very long time. For instance, in Christianity, we have the days of the desert fathers in places like Egypt, particularly, who were among the pioneers of the Coptic form of Christianity that was dominant in Egypt for a very long time, also the period of the Romans. So we had figures like Pachomius the Cenobite, Athanasius, Pope Saint Cyril, who all represented such movements. So, and then the movement even extended to places as far as Ethiopia, where we had the likes of priests like Jacob, Abunos, and others like that. So now what we are talking about is Islamic mysticism, which is basically called tassawwuf or Sufism. So because Sufism as a movement or as a culture, let me call it a culture, took shape in places around today's Central Asia, or what we like to call politically as Middle East. So places around Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Bukhara, in what is today's Uzbekistan. So this culture came into fruition or came into existence as a result, according to Ibn Khaldun in one of his treatises, when he talked about Sufism coming into existence as a result of the rot that was prevalent amongst early Muslims. So some Muslims decided to seclude themselves and go back to the originality of Islamic I would call it of Islamic message or Islamic preachings according to the Prophet, because they chose to approach the religion from more than just the physical aspect. They chose to look at the spiritual aspect. So, and this culture of religion or theology to the realm of science, to the realm of literature and poetry. So we had great names like Omar Khayyam, like Al-Farabi, like Nizam al-Mulk, like Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, like a whole lot of them, like Yunus Emra, like Fariduddin Attar of Nishapur, and we had so many great women mystics as well, like Rabiat al-Adawiya or Rabiat of Basra, like Fatima al-Nishburi, Fatima from Nishapur, and we had so many of them in era of Islamic cultural formation, where Islamic identity was still under or was still in its formative stage. So this culture was a beneficiary of what I would call an earlier cultural synthesis, that is the Perso-Turkic or the Turco-Persian culture, which took shape in the same region where the culture of Sufism was eventually born. So Sufism gave to this culture, that is the Perso-Turkic or the Turco-Persian culture, as well as also picked from this culture, because Sufism ended up spreading to places as far as China, where we had the likes of the Qadiriya Sufi order, the likes of the Naqshbandi Sufi order, places in the Southeast Asia, such as Indonesia, such as Malaysia, such as in Brunei, and then places in Africa. So Sufism became a driving force behind the spread of Islam to so many parts of the world. In Southeast Asia, you could talk about places like Pondok, what we call here in some parts of Africa, and what they call Makaranta or Makaranta Alo. That is a place where religious knowledge are being taught, or where religious knowledge is being taught. And then for instance, if you consider a place such as India, where like that is Greater India, the Indo-Pakistani subcontinent that includes India, Pakistan, as well as Bangladesh, you see a very, very conspicuous culture of Sufism, because Islam in the India subcontinent spread particularly through the efforts of so many great Sufi dervishes, or I would call it Sufi teachers or spiritual leaders. And one of the most prominent among them was Maulana Muinuddin Chishti, also known as Sultan al-Hind, that is the king of India, or also known as Naibul Rasul. So because the Turkic people who took Islam on a large scale to India were conquerors, so they could not conquer the hearts of the people with sword. So the people that eventually conquer the hearts of people, and the lasting legacy or the lasting impact of their work are the countries of Pakistan, Bangladesh, who are mainly Muslims today, as well as over 100 million Muslims that are still present in what is today's India. That is as a result of the efforts of these men. And then in so many places, so many cultures, so many Islamic states were born as a result of Sufi movement. We have an example, that is the Alawite kingdom of Morocco, which was formed basically through the help of the Sufi orders. As the Yusufiya was a branch of the Shazili Sufi Toriko. Now we've talked about Sufism as an impetus to state formation, or as an impetus to the spread of Islam to so many parts of the world. I, as an African, know this for sure, because Islam particularly spread across so many regions of Africa, particularly West Africa, through the efforts of Sufi scholars, who we call here in West Africa as Marabouts, and we have so many of them. The Suwarian tradition alludes to Al-Hajj Salim Suwari being a prominent figure in the spread of Islam in early West African societies, particularly in regions like the Senegambia in Mali, where the culture of Sufism still remains strong till today and has continued to inspire generations.